creams, custards, and sauces. Tabletop cooking is where baking 2 is going to begin. So let's talk a little bit about this. These are standalone desserts, as well as the foundations of many torts, pastries, and frozen dessert preparations. Sweet custards are cooked mixtures of eggs, sugar, and liquid. Flour or cornstarch may be added for thickening. And we'll get into all that a little bit later. Sweet custards can be flavored in a variety of ways and eaten hot or cold, and we'll experiment with flavoring them in different ways. Some are served alone as a dessert or used as a filling, topping, or accompaniment for pies, pastries, or cakes. When we're done with this chapter, you should be able to explain the function of eggs in custards and creams, prepare a variety of custards, prepare a variety of creams, prepare a variety of mousses or other fillings, prepare a variety of hot desserts, soufflés, and cheesecakes. Wow, reading's not good for me today. Prepare a variety of dessert sauces, and use these products when preparing or serving other pastries and dessert items. The skills you get from custards and sauces, like making creme anglaise, things along those lines, this is going to be pastry cream. It's going to be something that you're going to need. And 6 months down the road, when I say, hey, you need a pastry cream to fill that eclair or to do something along those lines with you, you're going to need to know from this chapter about the eclairs and the pastry creams. Let's start off with custards. A custard is any liquid thickened by the coagulation of egg proteins. As you learned last year, proteins coagulate, forming a network of tight bonds. When heated, undiluted egg proteins solidify into a tight mass at about 160 degrees Fahrenheit, 71 degrees Celsius. The proportion of eggs to the other ingredients in the mixture affects the egg coagulation. Thus can be things like cream, milk, and sugar. They interrupt the formation of these bonds, slowing the coagulation so that the mixture thickens into a creamy sauce or a tender pudding. A custard's consistency depends on the ratio of eggs to liquid, whether whole eggs or just yolks are used, and the type of liquid used. The more eggs used, the thicker and richer the final product will be. The richer the liquid, cream versus milk for example, the thicker the final product. A custard can be stirred or baked. A stirred custard tends to be soft, rich, and creamy. A baked custard, typically prepared in a water bath in an oven, is usually firm enough to unmold and slice. Food safety is always important in the kitchen, and it is no different in the bake shop. Custards and egg safety include such things as eggs are very easily contaminated by bacteria such as salmonella that cause foodborne illness. Custards cannot be heated to temperatures high enough to destroy these bacteria without first curdling the eggs. So we must follow strict sanitary guidelines when preparing custards. We try to use pasteurized egg products from the carton when we can. And always remember that egg custards do not have a very long lifespan. Things like pastry cream. If we put a pastry cream inside of a cream puff or an eclair, that's only good for approximately 24 hours. It won't be good 2 or 3 days later. Stirred custards cooked on the stovetop, either directly in a saucepan or over a double boiler. It must be stirred throughout the cooking process to stabilize the eggs and prevent curdling. Curdling occurs when the egg proteins are overheated and overcoagulate, which forces any liquid trapped within the protein bonds to separate out of the mixture. A stirred custard can be used as a dessert sauce, incorporated into a complex dessert, or eaten alone. Examples on this slide of vanilla custard sauce, also known as creme anglaise, pastry cream, sabayon, and various different curd fillings like lemon curd, orange curd. Um, these recipes can be found in your book. Please be familiar with them and how their ratios compare to a baked custard. Baked custard. The baked custard is based on the same principle as a stirred custard, a liquid thickened by a coagulation of egg proteins. However, with a baked custard, the thickening occurs in the oven. The container of custard is usually placed in a water bath or bain-marie to help the custard cook evenly and protect the eggs from curdling. Even though the water bath temperature will not exceed 212 degrees Fahrenheit, care must be taken to not to bake the custards for too long or at too high of a temperature. An overbaked custard will be watery or curdled. A properly baked custard should be smooth, textured, and firm enough to slice. Baked custards include simple mixtures of whole eggs or yolks, sugar, and milk, such as cream caramel, called flan in Spanish or Mexico, sometimes with a little cinnamon added to it. Baked custards also include mixtures in which other ingredients are suspended, for example, cheesecake, rice puddings, bread puddings, and quiche. The texture and flavor of these custards will vary depending on the quantity and types of ingredients used. Whole eggs are used in a simple egg custard, such as a flan, to provide both richness from the fat in the yolk and structure from the proteins in the white. This is important in order for the flan to maintain its shape when unmolded. Using heavy cream and additional egg yolks, such as in creme brulee, provides additional richness and a soft, velvety texture. Because the dessert is served in a ramekin, protein strength is not required. Please look at creme caramel or flan and creme brulee and look at the varying ingredients in those so you kind of get an idea of what the ingredients are doing in the custard and how they are reacting. That helps you solve problems, that helps you know how to make these custards. Types of baked custards: creme caramel, creme brulee, cheesecake. We've talked about those, and there are recipes in your book, and we will be making these in class. We will be varying our creme brulees, for example, with different variations to them, making them different flavors. Creams. Creams include light, fluffy, or cream textured dessert items made with whipped egg whites or whipped cream. Some, such as Bavarian creams and chiffons, are thickened with gelatin. Others, such as mousses or cream chantilly, are softer and lighter. The success, however, depends on the properly whipping and incorporating of egg whites or heavy creams. A chiffon is thickened with gelatin and lightened with whipped egg whites. A mousse is thickened with cooked eggs, chocolate, and lightened with whipped cream, whipped egg whites, whipped egg yolks, or a combination. Table 14.1 from your book on page 502 is shown here on this slide. And it kind of tells you, for example, a Bavarian cream starts with a base of custard, is thickened with gelatin, and then whipped cream is folded in. A chiffon is a custard or starch thickened fruit, thickened with gelatin, and whipped egg whites are then folded in. A mousse is melted chocolate and or pureed fruit or custard. Nothing is thickening, or you can use some gelatin. Some recipes will call for gelatin in their mousses, but for the most part, nothing. What gives your mousse its texture is your whipped cream, whipped egg whites, whipped egg yolk, or a combination of all three. Table 14.2 shows you troubleshooting charts. Yeah, excuse me. a troubleshooting chart for creams and custards. It can tell you what can go wrong. This is something you may want to look over. You will find this on page 511 of your textbook. And here it is continued. It's a little bit bigger in your textbook than would fit on one slide. Wow, talking's a problem today. Fit on one slide. Thank you. Now let's talk dessert sauces briefly. Pastries and desserts are often accompanied by a sweet sauce. Dessert sauces provide moisture, flavor, and texture that enhance plate presentation. Sauces may be based on milk and cream, such as the vanilla custard sauce, cream anglaise, for example, the principal dessert sauce. Like any other master sauce, it can be flavored and colored with chocolate, coffee, liquor, fruit. Other dessert sauces include fruit sauces, caramel, butter, and wine sauces, and of course, chocolate syrup. Sauces should be selected to contrast or complement the dessert or pastry with which they are served. For example, a raspberry souffle can be complemented by an intense raspberry puree or contrasted with a rich chocolate sauce. Plan on 1 to 2 ounces of sauce per plated dessert. Commercially prepared powders and mixes can be used to make a wide assortment of puddings, custards, mousses, gelatin, desserts, and creams. After all, who hasn't made Jell-O? The advantages of these products are speed, quality control, and reduced labor costs. Packaged mixes are simply prepared according to the directions provided by the manufacturer. For most mousses, gelatins, desserts, or cream, milk or other liquid is added to the powder, and then it is whipped until the desired consistency is obtained. Cooking is not usually required. The pastry cook can often improve on the final product by adding whipped cream, fruit, or an appropriate garnish. Some establishments find convenient products quite useful for the labor-saving possibilities. We here make everything from scratch because even if you go out and work for a bakery who uses a convenient product like we're talking about here, like for example, let's take the basic cream anglaise, and you have a company that uses the cream anglaise powder that you just mix with milk. They run out, you need to make it from scratch. There will be many labs attached to this unit, so we will be spending a little time in this unit. There will also be other homework assignments. Please check OneNote for the instructions and check for Teams for the assignments and assignment due dates. Have a great day, guys.